All right, so remember this week in writing, we're learning the difference between sit and set. So we have the word sit. Anybody remember what sit means? When I say that I will sit, what does it mean?
When you sit down.
Like to sit down or to rest, right? When I say that I'm going to sit, it means to sit down or to rest.
I knew it.
Okay, then we have set. What does it mean when we say set? It means to what?
To place something down.
To place something down.
You said place. No, I thought you said play, not place.
Place, P-L-A-C-E. Okay, so sit means to rest or to actually sit down. And then set, S-E-T, set means to place something down. So I have 3 sentences here. I want you to copy them and I want you to fill in the blank with either sit or set. So you'll really have to read it to figure out whether you're putting sit or set in the sentence, okay? So number 1 says we will either sit or set on the mat. Number 2, Joe and David will sit or set next to the pool. And number 3, I sit or set my iPad on the bed. Okay? So that's the 3 you'll do, okay? So I'll give you a few minutes to work on those 3. Write them correctly and put either sit or set on the line, just like I did on yesterday. All right, I'll give you a little bit of time to do that. Go ahead and go over it. All right, so number 1 says we will, is it sit or set on the mat? We will sit or set on the mat.
Sit.
Sit, okay? And what else should I do to make my sentence correct?
Put sit.
I will put sit, but what about capitalization and all of that?
Capitalize W.
Capitalize my first letter W, finish with the period, and it's sit. We will sit on the mat. Number 2, Joe and David will sit or sit next to the pool. Okay, Naraya?
Joe and David will sit.
Sit next to the pole, okay? What do I capitalize?
The first letter is Joe.
Capitalize J and Joe.
Capitalize D.
D and David. Finish with the
Period.
good. They are sitting, so Joe and David will sit next to the pole. Number 3, I sit or set my iPad on the bed. You didn't go. No. I will sit or set my iPad on the bed. Which one will be correct in this sentence?
Put sit.
Set. Because we're putting something down. Capitalize the I, finish with the period. Good.
All of them.
So those are how we should have written those 3 sentences correctly with placing either sit or set in the sentence. Good. All right, y'all got that? Yeah. All right. All right, let's go ahead and move on to phonics. Go over chart. Let's do 11, 12, and 13 today. Mm-hmm.
Can I do the other chart? I was doing chart 13. Yeah, and this is how bad I am. Look at exactly to do today. You want to do chart 13? So you got mixed up.
No, I said, well, let's do 12 and 13. Okay, so you 12, Carson, you do 13. All right.
No, my bow is not my name. Who is not my name?
All right, let's go. Chart 12. A says and sleep. AL says all, and also. BE says be, and because. EN says in, enjoy. UN says on, and unbutton. WR says and wrinkle. OULD says would, and could. AIR says air, and hair. U says and push. OUGH says up, and enough. OU says in country. ARR says air, in carry. IRE says ire, and fire. Okay.
Can I do 14? No, have doing that's the last chart. No, we did the chart the other day.
All right, 13.
FUL.
Wait, hold on. Sorry, I gotta get it for them. Okay, FUL. FUL says full, and beautiful. ARE says air, and care. TAIN says ton, and mountain. URE says you're, and pure. TURE says chur, and pasture. WAR says war, and warm. TION says shun, and nation. SION says shun, and missionary. SION says John, and television. EIGH says A, and 8. OR says in sailor. AR says in dollar. Y says in crystal.
ERR says air, in chair.
Good.
On first page, what is singing? I really don't want to. I was doing it. No, you like.
Okay, so those are our charts for today. Let's go ahead and do some board work and some clue cards today. Okay, so let's look at these words here. Remember, we have contraction. A contraction is when we have two words that we put two words together to make it into a shorter word. It's a shorter way to say two words at the same time. We'll take out letters and we'll put instead an apostrophe to replace it. So I have my first one here. You will. If I contract you will, what does it become when I put you and will together? It becomes you'll. I take out WI and it's YOU apostrophe LL. You'll. What about we are? If I contract we and are and I put them together, they become we're. I take out the A and put WE apostrophe RE. We are. Did not. If I contract did not, it becomes didn't. DIDN. We take out O apostrophe T. Didn't. And I am. If I contract I am. If I contract it, it becomes I'm. Take out the A, I apostrophe M. So contractions are when we have two words, we put them together to make it into a shorter word. We take out some of the letters and we put an apostrophe in that place to show that we took out some of the letters. All right, let's go ahead and turn these words. Now remember, when your root word ends, whenever you have a root word that ends with a Y, what is the rule before we add our suffix? When it ends with a Y, What is the rule before we add our suffix? We take,
I know.
okay.
Take the Y and turn it into an I.
Yes, take away the Y, turn it into an I. So first word is happy. Come and turn this into happiest.
Happy. Ew.
What happened? I don't see. Where? Okay, good. Happy as we take out the Y, change it to I at EST. Next, I have pretty. Let's turn it into prettier. Okay. Pretty into prettier. Anybody? Okay. So we take away the Y and change it into a what?
Change it into ER.
No.
I know. ER.
Yeah, tell me the root in order to write it. That's what we just said. What do we do to the Y? If the root word ends with the Y, what do we do to the Y?
Add the Y to the I.
Okay, and then you add ER. Come this way. You want to put it on yourself?
The thing's not working.
Right hard. It'll do.
Girl. Hello. Exit out. I is a spelling word.
Yeah, you're doing sight words this, huh?
It's an E word. What's your hand?
Which finger?
Yeah.
Perfect.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I'm about to say, yeah. Take away that Y. Yes, okay, prettier. Take away the Y, change it into I, and add ER. Next, we have cloudy. Let's turn cloudy into cloudy. Yes, anybody online? Okay, Joshua.
They like and participate.
Okay, Joshua, how would I turn cloudy into cloudy? Yes.
You said cloudy-ish?
Yes, cloudy into cloudy. How would I write that?
C L O O
No. That's a U? Yeah.
U D. But is the word cloudyish?
Yes. So what do I do to this Y before I add EST?
Take it away.
And change it into a what?
E.
Not an E. Remember, you take away the Y, turn it into an I. So I'll put an I, then I add EST. Cloudiest. Okay, good. So anytime your root word ends with the Y, you take away the Y and turn it into an I and add your suffix after that, okay? All right, so today we're going to also practice ABC order. Remember, when we put words in ABC order, it's based upon the alphabet. What letter do we focus on when we are putting something in alphabetical order? We focus on the first letter only. So I have D, C, and H. Let's look at it. D, C, and H. Which one would go first? D.
No, C.
D, A, B, C.
Oh, yeah.
After C, D, and then
E.
H.
Girl.
Yes. So remember, when we say the alphabets, no A, no B, but we have a C, then D, E, F, G, H. So that will be the order we will place them in based upon the alphabet. Okay. All right. Awesome. Okay. All right, let's go ahead and do a few clue cards. Then we'll be done.
Yeah. Can we do the game clue cards?
Oh,
I want to cry. Such a baby. I messed up on my test. And this goodness, I got all A's. I got all A's and B's. Like I went to go to the I got work you did. And then I got A right? Which one is right?
yeah, but I'm gonna break our verse, right?
Which one is right?
Whether I'm gonna break our verse or burst our break, I say,
Yeah, I played a lot of Carry today. Which one is that? I want you to write a big hat like that thing.
All right, let's go ahead and practice. So we have AIR says air like in hair. Okay, this is a place you can go to and raise your hand, please. We're not shouting out answers. I want you to raise your hand. This is a place we can go to and we can ride rides. We can get food. We can have fun at this place. Okay, Dennis?
Fair.
The fair. Yes. Next, U says and push. Okay, this is where animals will hide sometimes. Okay, Avaya,
Babe, why are you doing
unmute.
a bush?
In the bushes.
it.
Yes, bushes. Okay. Next, OUGH says and enough. Whenever someone if someone is playing a little too hard, you say, man, you are very rough. OU says in country. Okay. If your aunt or your uncle has a child, that child to you is your what? If your aunt or uncle has a child, that child is your cousin.
I know.
Mhm.
You just said
ARR says air in carry. Okay, this is what I'm not that. This is an animal. When we talked about Peru, this is an animal that the people like to have as pets. Joshua?
Parrot.
Parrot. Yes. Next one. IRE says air, and fire. Okay, this is what someone does when they work a long time and they're ready to, not say quit, but stop working. This is what it's called. When someone say they worked for 40 years and they're done working, they will do this. Read them. IRE, ire. When someone has worked a long time and they're ready to kind of not stop working, they will do this.
Retire.
Retire. They retire. Yep. FUL says full, and beautiful. Okay. If you find something that helps you out a lot, it's not helpful. Helpful is on here, but that's not the word. It helps you to say to complete something. You could say that this was very not helpful. It's not helpful.
I know it was.
If something you use
Joyful.
Mm-mm.
Joyful. Thankful.
No.
Joyful.
Listen, if you have something that helps you out a lot to get a task done, you can say that it was very what, Dennis?
Useful.
Useful. I had said it. That's why I had stopped. I had said it. I bet y'all must have never heard it. But yes, useful. ARE says air in care. Okay, this is when you're trying to watch TV and like there's a light in the TV and you can't see it well. What is that called?
I know.
When you're trying to watch TV and there's like a light in it, it's a what? Glare.
A glare.
TAIN says ton in mountain. Okay, this is when you are sure about something, like, yes, I know, I am sure. You would say that I am this. Joshua? When you are sure about something.
I don't know. I know it.
Mountain?
Not mountain. When you are sure about something, like you're 100% sure, you're like, I know you are. No. Ooh, there's one more hard one. Certain. You are certain. I am certain I am in first grade. Like I know it. Okay, and you are, he says you're in pure. Okay. If you tie something down, you got to double check to make sure that it's what? Secure. Secure. Yes. Good. So that was just a review of our sounds today. Okay. All right. Go ahead and get out your reading. Let's go ahead and move on to reading for today. What is that? Oh, no. That's not going to work for me. What is that? Oh, no. Go fix those Z's. Reading, we're on page 82, the cat and the birds. Hold on. The cat and the birds, 82. No, we're going to let online read for us. Yes? No.
That was serious. Yeah, I'm just gonna ignore it. I don't even. Good thing I didn't.
All right, the cat and birds. All right, Joshua, can you start us off? 82.
The cat and the birds. The birds. A sly old cat had been told that the birds in the bird house were ill. I will put on some glasses and overcoat
Oh, yeah, overcoat.
and for visit them, said the cat to himself. Perhaps they will think I am the doctor. Then if they open their door to me, I will eat them up. So he creeped up to the
The volume went out.
How much time do we read this?
Oh, the volume went out. Okay, it was back. Okay, so we're introduced, so we have the birds, right? And so what's wrong with the birds?
They're ill.
They are sick, right? So the cat hears about it, and what does he decide to do?
To act like a doctor.
To basically act like a doctor, to pretend that he's concerned, but really what does he want to do?
Eat them.
He wants to eat them, right? So when he goes, the mother, does she know who he is?
No.
Let's see. All right, 89, 83, Vaya 83.
Yes, she do know who he is.
Thank you, said the birds, but we know who you are. We are much more likely to get well without your medicine than
To yourself. It, okay. All right, so did the mom bird know what he was trying to do?
Yes.
Yes, she did. And what did she tell him?
No thank you.
No, thank you. She says, we are fine. You're trying to trick us right now, and we will not fall for the trick. So that was wise, right, of her. So she used wisdom. She didn't think just because he had on the glasses and the coat that he was a doctor. Instead, she saw through that, and she saw that he was a what? A cat. And he wanted to eat her and her babies. So that was wise of the bird. So, yep. He wasn't able to get them like he thought he would be able to. So, yep. All right. So that's the story today, guys. That was it. It was just on the cat and the birds and how the cat tried to trick the birds when they were sick.
Do we have to do spelling? They just call you.
Yeah, I know. I heard. Huh? All right. Let's go ahead and get out your science.
Let's spell it.
Science.
No, she said. I thought we didn't have to say do we have to spell? Oh, you said spec? Yes.
All right. So we're talking about seasons. We are on page 117. 117.
I made it.
Mm-hmm.
Ew. Everybody starts saying ew because you about time. That's what they eat, worms.
All of them that have that Y at the end.
Take a piece of worm and then put a piece of it in her mouth. Yeah, because she gets her baby. I don't know. I'm sorry. Please, my baby. Daddy, cocoa cake. Oh, this is my cocoa chubby. That's so good. That's my first. This is my lip, and this is really made out of.
All right, so we'll be talking about spring and summertime. So remember, we talked about the winter. It's cold in the winter. Most plants will die in the winter time, but the seeds will rest in the ground. Though a lot of the trees, they lose all their flowers, the bud still remains, and the seeds, like when the leaves fall, when they fall in the ground, they just simply rest in the ground until the spring comes back, and they'll grow back. Okay. So yes, 117, spring, a time for a new life. Okay, Dennis, can you read 117 for us?
We're gonna read. Okay, we're gonna read my mama.
That's the wrong book. We're in science.
Oh, I thought you said Sonic. Sonic? Yeah, I thought that's a movie. Are you going to the Sonic movie? I am. On the day off. I'm because we're going to be here I'm not all weekend. I'm not. I am. Oh, I am. I'm gonna go watch it. So we're gonna meet each other. All three of us, like on the
Dennis, 117. Yep. All right. Okay. We're about to read. Sit down.
In spring, we have more sunlight each day. It rains often. Seeds that were resting in the cold winter ground have warmth and water, and they start to grow. Buds open on the trees, and shrubs and spring flowers bloom. When do flowers start to bloom where you live? Animals that were hibernating wake up. Many baby animals are born. Migrating birds begin to return and build nests. We like to hear them sing. It is time to plant our gardens. God has given the world new life.
Good. Thank you. So yeah, so springtime is here. So winter is over. Spring is here. Everything that was dead in the winter will start to come alive in the spring. So now we will start to have more sunlight, which is good and important for everything to grow back, but we also get a lot of rain as well during this time so that things could grow back because plants need water and rain to grow back. So all those seeds that were resting, all that sunshine and that rain that comes down, I mean, the sun that comes out, the rain that comes down, all those seeds that were in the ground, they start to grow back. The grass starts to get green again. It's not so dead anymore. Trees, the buds open on the trees, and then we start to see eventually flowers come out. Animals that were hibernating, they wake up during this time. Many baby animals are born. Birds will come back and build their nests. You'll start to see the birds flying again. It's a time of life. Everything, it was quiet in the winter. Things, animals slept, animals, migrated south. But in the spring, everything comes back to life. Things are growing again. Animals are walking around again. Animals we didn't see before, they're coming out again. And so the springtime is a time of life. So it's a perfect time to plant a lot of seeds. It's a perfect time to see all kind of beautiful flowers growing back. Spring. So after spring, we go into the next season, which would be summer. So let's look at 119 and let's talk about summer. Summer.
This book never ends. And it's got another 100. Rinse. Like squirt water in it. That one. If you put salt.
All right, summer, a time to grow. In the summertime, the days are long, meaning we have a lot of sunlight, and the nights are short because it's summertime. It's hot in many places, right? Springtime, it's just a little warm, but in the summer, it gets hot. It gets really hot. And so have you ever visited any place where the summer is hotter, visit a place where the summer is cooler? When we talk about Australia, we'll actually talk about how it's opposite. Their seasons are opposite than ours. But anyway, yeah. So in the summer, we will see a lot of fruits begin to grow on the trees. Vegetables will grow in the farms and on the gardens. And baby animals that were born in the spring, they start to grow in the summertime as well. We also see a lot of insects, a lot of different animals, because a lot of those things come out in the summertime. So just like spring, summer is also a lot of life, but we also have hotter days in the summer and longer days. It's like it gets dark later in the summertime. So a lot of fruit will grow in the summer as well, along with vegetables in the summer, and a lot of everything is back. So those are two seasons, spring and summer, where we see a lot of life from not only plants, but also animals. We see a lot of animals out, a lot of plants are growing back. It's a beautiful time in the summertime as well, okay? So those are our two seasons we're covering this month. And spring months are March, April, and May. and summer months are June, July, and August. Those are the months we will find those seasons, okay? All right, let's go to social studies. So last week we visited Italy. That was our last country in Europe. And so when we visited Egypt, not Egypt, sorry. When we visited Italy, we're going to Egypt this week. When we visited Italy, we talked about how Rome is one of the oldest cities in the world, and it's in Italy. We talked about Venice, how it's a city with many little rivers, and you could travel on the gondola, which, you know, you could travel on the little rivers. Then we talked about Pisa, where we find the Leaning Tower of Pisa. It's sinking every year because the ground is soft, so it sinks a little every year. So let's go to 88. We're moving on to our next continent.
Yeah, that's King. No, that's King. Yeah, Kenya. Kenya, but that's a big thing. There's 3 names of Kid's name.
Yep.
Kid. Kid, that's a nickname. That's his name. Kid, that's a nickname. Miss Booge, hurry
Okay. All right. So we're getting there to the end of our tour. So we've been to North America, where we went to Canada, Mexico. We went to South America, where we went to Peru. We've been to Europe, where we visited France, Germany, Norway, London. We went to Italy. We went to Switzerland, right? Norway, Netherlands. Okay, so now we're going to our next country, which is called the motherland, because that's where everything on earth started, and that is in Africa. We're now going to Africa. So we're going to visit 2 countries in Africa. We're going to visit Kenya, which is here, and we're going to visit Egypt up here. Now, we talk about Egypt a lot, especially when we talk about Bible. So Egypt is, we'll talk about it. So let's go ahead and start with our first country in Africa, which is Kenya, Africa.
This is Africa.
Kenya, Africa, on the East African coast. Huh?
That's where
Yeah. Kenya, Africa.
Miss Lou, does this say Egypt? Israel. And this is Israel. It was Jesus born in Israel.
Yes.
Told you.
Which is right next door
I told you he was born in
to
Israel.
Egypt.
Okay. People was there.
Hmm?
So he was born in Israel.
Yeah, but we're not going there this week. Okay, so Kenya. As we travel down to Kenya, we will see a popular lake, which is called Lake Victoria. Lake Victoria is Africa's largest lake. Whenever we arrive in Kenya, we will stop in the capital city, which is called Nairobi. Say that, Nairobi. Nairobi. Nairobi is the capital city of Kenya. It's a large city and has a lot of cool places, some of the same places that we like and enjoy here in America. Okay, and as you look on that picture on 88, you can see a picture of the city. It looks like, you know, a city here, like, right, all the tall buildings. So Kenya is a warm place to live, and it is near what's called the equator. The equator, if you look here, is an imaginary line, right? That kind of splits the world in half. Every country that is near the equator is very warm. It's very warm, very sunny, very beautiful. And Kenya is one of those countries that are in the part where the equator is. So that's why it is extremely warm and sunny in Kenya. So Kenya is also next to what's called the Indian Ocean, which is right here, Indian Ocean. And it's a very warm ocean as well. So Kenya's right here, right near the Indian Ocean. Okay. Along the beaches in Kenya, you'll see a lot of coconut trees along the beaches. Okay. And a lot of the cities have regular homes, have tall buildings. Of course, you do have like little villages as well in Kenya, but a lot of it is like normal cities. They're regular cities. A lot of times they make Africa seem like it's a lot of desert when it's not really desert. There are parts like that, but a lot of parts of Africa are also modern, where there's a lot of cities, a lot of tall buildings, a lot of apartments, a lot of homes, regular things like that. But of course, we know it's not going to look like America because it's still a different country. It's not the same like where we live, okay? So there are many large parks in Kenya where the animals run free. So we will go to these large parks in America, and these large parks are called zoos. But in Kenya, Africa, these large parks where the animals run freely are called safaris. So if you ever want to go on a safari, you could take a trip and see the animals. Now, when you go to the zoo, you get to walk freely throughout the zoo, right? The animals are in their cages. You get to stop by their cage. But on a safari, it's the opposite. You have to be inside of like a vehicle or something safe away from the animals because they get to walk around freely because that's their home. So you are actually going inside of their home and where they live. So when you go on a safari in Africa, you'll ride usually in a car and you'll drive through the safari land where you'll see all the animals walk. No, when we went on the trip, yeah, it was called going
And
on.
lions.
So yes, the animals, they walk around freely, and you have to sit inside of a car where you'll be able to see them. You don't want to get out because the lion is walking around freely, and you don't want to, get caught. So of course, some of the most, popular animals are from Africa, like antelope, elephants, giraffes, cheetahs, zebras, ostriches, all of those animals that we talk about, lions, all of those animals, they are from Africa. This is where creation actually started. Not in Kenya, but in Africa. When God made everything, it was in this part of the earth. Of course, the map changed over time, but yeah. And so a lot of those animals, crocodiles, hippos, all of those animals that we talk about, the really large, big ones, that's where they're from, Africa. And so in Kenya, you could see a lot of those animals just in their natural habitat, living their life. When you leave Kenya, you will see one of the highest mountains in Africa, which is Mount Kilimanjaro. Mount Kilimanjaro, one of the highest mountains in Africa. So in Kenya, a lot of the people are farmers and they grow their own food. They also grow a lot of corn because you can make a lot of things from corn. Yes, yes, yes. And so a lot of people visit Kenya to go on that safari where they visit and they see a lot of those beautiful animals in Kenya. So that is Kenya, Africa. And if you look at their flag, totally different from our flag here in America as well. So this is the beautiful Kenya. We can go on a safari. We can see Lake Victoria, the largest lake in Africa, Mount Kilimanjaro, the highest mountain in Africa. And we can go on a safari. We can also see the beautiful coconut trees and maybe go and swim in the Indian Ocean. Okay, let's go to page 90 where we'll go to our next country in Africa, which is Egypt. So we're leaving Kenya and we're going up north here to Egypt. Okay.
Pharaoh's head right there. Pharaoh's head. Yeah, look on the page in your book. Oh, Pharaoh's head. That's his head. And this is Egypt too. That's people. Yeah, that's where Jesus was born at.
Why? No. That's a Y. This is how you draw a Y. You're doing no, unacceptable. I need it to look like this. On all the ones that look like a Y, you're not fixing them. Okay, so Egypt. So from Kenya, we could take a bus and we will visit Egypt. Now, Egypt is most famous for the pyramids, right? Y'all heard of the pyramids in Egypt, right? Yeah. Egypt is most famous for the pyramids. The pyramids are huge stone structures. They are square on the bottom and they have 4 smooth sides and then the point on the top. So the pyramids were really special and really important. One second.
The biggest things.
So yes, so in Egypt, yes, the pyramids, they were really built as a grave for the kings of Egypt, the pharaohs. Remember we talked about Pharaoh? Whenever we talked about Moses, he wanted to let people go. So a lot of the kings in Egypt, they're called the pharaohs. They were built inside of these, they were buried when they died inside of these pyramids. The Egyptians also have a process where they mummify people, meaning, you know, wrapping them in white cloths. Have you heard of a mummy before? Well, the Egyptians did that. That's how they buried their people. They would put herbs and spices on their body to preserve the body, and then they would wrap them in the white cloth, and it was called mummifying them, which, you know, people talk about mummies, but they are a real thing. That's how they buried their kings in Egypt. And so now they're not alive. I mean, they're dead, but I'm saying it's a real thing how they did it. And so, yeah, so they would wrap them up like that, and they would bury them inside of the tombs, which are the pyramids. They would also not only bury the kings in the pyramids, but they would also bury them with all of their gold, all of everything that they had, because they believe that in the afterlife, once the kings died, they will be able to take all their gold with them. But yeah, that's not actually true. And so some of the pyramids in Egypt, you can actually go inside of them and take a little tour inside of the inside of the pyramids. So Egypt is most famous for the pyramids. If you ever want to see the pyramids, that's where they are, in Egypt. So they don't get much rainfall in Egypt. It's very hot, very dry, very sandy. So whenever the Hebrews were traveling through the wilderness, this is what they were walking through. That's why they hated the wilderness, because it was dry, it was hot, it was sandy. You couldn't grow anything there. You couldn't do really much of anything there, but just walk through it and complain about being hot. That's why they complained all the time. So yes, so the Nile River flows through Egypt as well. Okay, and so they use a lot of the fertile soil near the Nile to grow a lot of their crops as well. So there's something called the Great Sphinx. If you look at that circle here on page 90, you see that? It has the head of a man, but the body of a lion. So the Great Sphinx was also built in Egypt as well. And it was built because they believed that the Great Sphinx would guard the tombs, guard the pyramids, because that's where they buried the kings. And people knew that they buried the kings with their gold. So the Great Sphinx was there to guard the tombs in case anyone came to try to steal anything out of the tombs. Now we know it really can't go, you know, it's not a living thing, but that's what they believed, that the Great Sphinx would guard the tombs and stop people from stealing any of the gold and silver that they built. Cairo is the capital city of Egypt. Is the capital city of Egypt. And let's look at 91. Next, they have a Suez Canal, which was dug many hundreds of years ago so that people could travel from the Mediterranean to the Indian Ocean without going all the way around. So they built this canal, and that kind of changed the way the land was at that time. But the canal was built to make a shorter way to travel from the Mediterranean Sea to the Indian Ocean without going all the way around Africa to get there. So they built this famous canal, and it helps a lot of ships to travel to get to and from Egypt or wherever else they need to go. So Egypt, what we really need to know is about the tombs, the pyramids, why they were built, who was buried inside of the tombs, and about the Great Sphinx, and why was the Great Sphinx built? And it was built so that it could guard the tombs. Okay, so those are our two countries in Africa that we are visiting this week, Kenya and Egypt. Okay, two countries in Egypt. I mean, in Africa. So our continent that we're visiting this week is Africa, and the two countries are Kenya and Egypt. Okay. All right. So that is it for our social studies today. All right, let's go ahead and go over language, and then we'll be done.
Wrong page the whole time. It was on the one. Is it boring? This I remember
Boring.
this one is a long time ago.
All right, so we are talking about nouns.
A noun is the name of.
And what is a noun?
A noun is the name of a person, place, thing, or idea.
Good. A noun is the name of a person, place, thing, or idea. So last week we covered person and place, and we talked about the two. What are the two types of nouns? I'm sorry, before we get into that. What are the two types of nouns?
Common and proper.
Common and proper nouns are the two types of nouns. Common nouns mean that anyone can have the name. Then we have proper, which means that it is the special name. So give me some common nouns of people. Common nouns of people. Common nouns of people.
Cousin.
Cousin,
Dog.
dad, It's not a person. Common names of people.
A police officer.
Police officer.
I know.
Sister.
I know. Daddy.
Dad. Good. And now all those are common. What are some proper nouns of people? It's pretty simple. Proper nouns of people.
Avaya.
Avaya, Mrs. Flugent.
Angia, which is my mom.
I know. Madam.
Mimi.
Officer Bill, firefighter Joe, Dennis.
Lily. You know that's really a song.
Okay, so all of these are examples of proper nouns of people. So let's talk about common nouns of places. Common nouns of places. Restaurants, store. Common noun of a place.
I know house.
House.
I got a good one. I can name house. Mini
Okay.
house. Park house.
Park.
McDonald's.
Library, gas station, church, school. Good.
McDonald's.
And proper nouns of places. What are the actual name of the place? Sky Zone.
Kids Empire.
Cajun
I like
Palms.
I think Kids Empire.
Oh, Kids Empire.
I know.
Sky Zone. Walmart.
Cajun Fast Track.
Cajun Fast Track. Good. So today we're going to move on to the next part of nouns, which are things, because a noun is the name of a person, place, thing. So I told you whenever we cover things, we have two types of things. We have living things.
Don't you dare touch that.
We have living things and non-living things. Okay? Now remember, a person is not a thing. Yes, people are alive, but we are not things. We are persons. We are humans. So whenever I say living things, I mean animals, like a cat, dog, horse, tiger, leopard, a donkey, anything like that, and plants, flowers, fruits, vegetables. All of these are living things. They are alive. Then we have non-living things, which are basically everything else. Like if we would say a computer, the same thing. We say a pen, pencil, board,
A pencil sharpener, a
candle, a lighter. What else we got? Think about things in your house. Sofa,
a bed,
a bed,
a dog,
shoes. Well, dog is living. Stove.
Cereal.
Right? Think about if we at school. What are some things in school? A desk,
Some mess.
table, a box,
A
chair,
some wood, binder,
binder, paper,
work,
backpack,
Hammer.
puzzle, a hammer,
a hammer,
hammer.
spelling, a ruler,
Okay. All right. So all of these are examples of non-living things, and there's a bunch of other things. So for living, we said a dog, a cat, a horse, owl, donkey, sister. That's a person.
a dog,
Donkey,
a reindeer,
a lion, reindeer,
a leopard, cheetah,
leopard, right?
right,
Turtle, fish.
cheetah,
Okay, we said flowers, a tree,
a rose,
grass, a
Johnny
rose,
Appleseed.
apple seed.
computer,
All right, good. So living and non-living things. So on your test, I'm just gonna ask you to list some living things and list some non-living things. That's it. So you want to write this down? Okay, if you want to. If not, a video will be up.
Miss Flugence.
Yes.
6, 7.
Never
Oh, it should
mind.
be a reminder. Okay.
Because it's not about class. I can't hear you, by the way. Oh, hi, Benji. Look how much you did it.
All right, guys, so that's it for today. That's all we needed to cover was phonics, language, writing, our science and social studies, and reading. Okay, so y'all have a good day. Complete all your workbook pages on everything. Okay, y'all have a good day. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.